Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful morning here in the city of Baguio. And I'm Danny Quinto, your host for this wellness webinar. We've called it the best of your life for the rest of your life, right? I'm Doc Wellness. And for this episode, second episode of our wellness webinar, I'm going to be talking to you how to create a higher level of energy so that it can impact all the areas of your life. You have to understand that if there's one part, one thing that you can do that will impact all of the areas of your life, it is your health, your fitness, your wellness in all aspects. It will impact your family, it will impact your business, it will impact whatever things that you're doing, whatever you're active to, you're active with, it will impact all of it. It will elevate it to a higher level. I've chosen this item for this episode because the previous episode, somebody put a question to me and said, I'm doing my exercises. I think I'm doing the right foods that I need to eat, but I still feel tired. And her sleep is a little bit erratic. And so for today, let me share with you some things about how the body really produces energy. What are the things that need to be done so that it's optimized the energy level there? And what are the things we also need to do to make sure that despite all of these things that we're doing, we still do not really feel tired at the end of the day or before we go and sleep. Now, let me share with you my screen. The first thing I'm going to do is basically to talk to you about a cell in our body. Actually, it's an organelle. They call it an organelle. Okay, I'm sharing with you. Can you see it? And so our participants, we have some already have entered here. Let me welcome Evan, Rudy. There's Jean. Okay, and there's Charles. And there's some others. Okay, let me make sure that they enter. Okay, now in the screen, you can see that this is a very tiny cell within the cell. It's actually called an organelle. And the scientific name is a mitochondria. Okay, now let's not get too technical about that. But if you can see in your screen, there is inside the mitochondria is our DNA. That's a master molecule that more or less tells us the blueprint of our own body. And if you can see right there, there's something called ATP, the adenosine triphosphate. So basically what it does, without getting too technical about it, is the mitochondria produces actually from its own chemical reactions there, our ATP. And ATP is basically our energy. And so if you look at it, the mitochondria is very important. Now, how do we make sure that our mitochondria, which are almost all in the cells of our own body, they remain organized, they remain effective, they remain healthy, and they're not unhealthy. Okay, so there's some things that impact the mitochondria so that it produces maximum energy every day. Now we also have to understand that ATP, our energy, cannot be stored. And so every day it has to be replenished. It has to be started all over again. Okay, so we do not store energy. All right. So with that in mind, let me tell you about what are the things that impacts directly our mitochondria. One of them basically is food, the food that we eat. If we eat the wrong kinds of food, then our mitochondria is quite unhealthy. So it cannot produce the needed ATP that gives us our energy every day. Now, the best food that you can eat to feed your mitochondria, which produces our energy, are basically plant-based food. Okay, it's better if it is organic. The reason being is it is very bioavailable. Plant foods like fruits, vegetables, we have herbs, we have nuts, but anything that comes out of the earth, basically they're God given. And so it has been there to feed our God given body. Now, if we eat a lot of processed food, including meat and meat products, then the mitochondria, after some time, especially if it is abused, then it doesn't perform very well. And so even our energy level is not at its optimum level. And so if you think about it, what are the food that you eat regularly? If you eat meat regularly, if you eat processed food, very fatty food, very high in cholesterol, if you drink a lot of alcohol, if you smoke a lot, definitely your mitochondria is not healthy. And that impacts directly on your energy, right? And so we have many people complain that even if they eat a lot, they eat a lot, they eat tons of food, especially during breakfast. That's what we used to hear, that in breakfast, you should eat like a king, at lunch, you eat like a queen, and dinner time, you eat like a pauper. But somehow, that is not quite correct. And so many times when we eat tons of food in the morning, and the wrong kinds of food, very high in cholesterol, too much fat, fatty foods, and a lot of toxins being produced, then definitely your energy level can go down very dramatically as you go into the afternoons and into the evenings. And so the best kind of food, and if I may recommend to you, there's one food that is specially adapted, very available to our own body. And that food is fruit. Now I found out some 30 years ago when I read a book by Harvey Diamond called Fit for Life. And I was blown away because he was talking about some things that I was not really too familiar with. He's talking about fruit as the best food that is bioavailable to our body. And so I started applying it in my life. Every morning from between 4 a.m. to 12 noon, I consume only food. I consume only fruits as my food for breakfast. And lo and behold, after this many years, it has contributed to my energy level. Can you imagine that even early in the morning, I feel very light? Why? Because I've consumed fruit, which does not impact too much on your digestive system. And so the energy that you create there does not dissipate, basically. So if I may recommend one food that is very available for you, it is fruits. So try consuming it early in the morning. Okay, now let me go to the next part of it. Let me see. Okay, now let me now talk about exercise. Now, I'm sure that many of you do your own exercises. Now, if I were to ask you, when you say exercise, basically, what do you do or what do you think of? When one says exercise, most people think of going to the gym for their fitness exercises. Well, if that's what you do, then that's good, right? It's better than not doing anything active actually. But did you know that you can exercise even in your own home? And you can do a simple exercise, not too long, 10 to 15 minutes. Actually, according to studies, the time that you need to exercise every day, the maximum that has a maximum effect also on your own body is from 22 to 25 minutes every day. More than that, you put a lot of strain on your own body. And so it can create, instead of being well, it creates a lot of stress in your own body. So it should be simple, very easy to do, and for a very short period of time, my protocol basically from 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes every day. Because if you do that, and it's very simple, very easy to do, low impact, low intensity exercises, you can do that every day. So that's one key, it should be done every day. Now, if you do one to 1.5 hours every day, you jog all around the neighborhood, you will not be able to maintain it for the rest of your life. If you do a low intensity exercise, then you can do it for the rest of your life. Whatever your age is now, you can do it for the rest of your life. Now, let me share my protocol in a later episode. Okay. Now, basically, when we're talking about fitness, because that's one of the things that you are thinking of when you do exercises, is we do exercises for strength. That's one for fitness. Another one for speed, another one for flexibility, and the fourth one for balance. So if you're talking of fitness, you're talking basically of those four things: strength, speed, flexibility, and balance. And that's what I do every day. I'm 69 years old, chronologically, but biologically, I'm approximately around 40 years old biologically. I still do my boxing exercises, and I'm quite fit at this young age of mine, right? And I can still go many, many years, God willing. Okay? So exercise is one of the things that impacts our mitochondria. The first one that impacts it is basically food. Not really first, but it's one big part is food. If you eat the right kinds of food, your mitochondria will be very healthy. Now, if you do exercises that doesn't stress you too much, then your mitochondria is also very healthy. And if they're healthy, then definitely it can produce the best amount of ATP or adenosine triphosphate to give you your energy level. Now, if you do exercises that are very stressful, I had a friend, he told me he was already a senior at the time. He was doing 5 or more kilometers a day. He was running. And I gave him caution. I said, you know, that's good because right now you can be doing it at that age. So not many people can do that. But I warned him because if you continue doing this, your body will become too stressed, so much so that after some time, instead of being energetic, you'll feel very tired and it might negatively impact your health. And sad to say, after some time, I think that's what impacted himself. He developed an illness and he passed away. Okay, God bless my friend. But that's also the same advice I'm going to give to you. If you do a very stressful exercise and the body cannot recover, recuperate, and you don't have a very good sleep pattern, then definitely the impact of that exercise will definitely be bad for you. And it will be bad for your, what is that? Capital N? Mitochondria. Okay, so the fourth one is, despite all of these activities that we are doing, there's a need for the body to recuperate, right? To repair those cells, to make sure that the muscles can recover from all of that intense exercise. So it needs a period of recuperation. So one of the things that we need to do is you have to give your body a rest. And one of the best ways of giving your body rest is basically a good night's sleep, right? Now, how many of you, and my good friend who asked me that question, the previous episode, said despite all the exercises that she's doing, she had problems with her sleep. Now, I'm talking directly to her right now, but of course, you're the ones whom I'd like also to impact with this information. Now, did you know that if talking about sleep, we have basically four types of people, categories you might say. Dr. Bruce called them the chronotypes. Did you know that you have a chronotype? And that actually there's not one specific time frame for everybody to sleep. They also tell us that you need 8 hours of sleep. That's not quite true, right? So it actually depends on your chronotype. Probably at a later segment or portion or episode wellness webinar, I can go more into detail of it. Now let me give you, let me share my screen with you. Let me see, where am I going? Okay. see. Let me share it. All right. Okay. Now, okay, that's episode 2. Create higher energy levels every day. Okay, and that's for exercise. Now, let me go back a little because I think I might have missed it. Although we have different chronotypes, the best time for exercise is basically early in the morning. Now, if you have a different chronotype, you might be doing exercises, fitness exercises at some point in time. But the best time is basically 6 to 7 a.m. But for some, a different chronotype, they can exercise better actually and have more energy in the afternoons or even early in the evening. Now, based on research, if you want to exercise for strength and flexibility, it's best done in the afternoon, at around 2 after your dinner, your lunch, at around 2 p.m. for strength, okay, and flexibility. All right. Now, evening, if you want to do weight loss, you can exercise in the evening and program it. Of course, you need to do it 2 hours before sleeping so that your sleep pattern is not interrupted. Okay. All right. Let me just stay with exercise and fitness for a while. But let me talk to you about sleep patterns. All right. Let me see. Okay. Share screen again. Let me go here. All right. And show you other and screen sharing, correct? What am I doing? Let me see. Let me see if you can go there again and do it there. All right. Now I wanted to show you what are some, but it's not working. But anyway, let me talk to you about the 4 chronotypes that we'll have. Let me say one of them is called the lion chronotype. Now, what are lions? Basically, lions are the go-getters. They're the ones that wake up very early in the morning. They've had a good night's rest, but they wake up 5:30, 5, or even early sometimes. They have their day all planned out, and they're ready to go. By around 7, they're out doing action. They're out probably in their office, going to their office. And they're already busy for the day. But lions, basically, by afternoon or even early evening, their energy level actually goes down already. And so a sleep pattern for lions is that they should sleep early. By around 10 p.m., they should be in bed already. Okay? And the sleep time frame, can be actually 7 hours, 6.5 to even 7 hours. And so they're ready again to go at a moment's notice the next day. Now, bears, this is the most common type of chronotype that people have all over the world. Now, bears are a little bit different. Although actually you might say that our schedules, our rhythms, our schedules in society as a whole is more attuned to bears, meaning office by 8 or 9, and then finish the office by 4 or 5 p.m., and then take a breakfast. And so they can go and sleep before 12 p.m. Okay? And so basically, the bears is very good for them because the basic pattern of life, the basic schedules in society is actually very suitable for our bears. Okay, the third one is called the wolf. Now, this is a different kind of chronotype. Now, wolves are your partygoers. They're the ones that are asleep even after 12 p.m. And so they're active basically at night. And so if you talk about sleep patterns, then definitely they cannot actually sleep at 10 p.m. They can sleep at around 2 a.m. early in the morning, but they wake up very late. So definitely, the sleep pattern is also a little bit erratic. But what they can do is to sleep those 8 hours, from 7 to 8 hours. That is the sleep pattern. And so you do not wake up a wolf very early in the morning. And so even if their activity should also be tailored to their basic chronological sleep patterns. All right. Now the fourth one is called a dolphin. Now dolphins are the problem chronotypes. The dolphins basically are the ones who have insomnia. And so they find sleeping very hard. It's very hard to them, for them. And so even their activities in the daytime is directly affected by their insomnia or their erratic patterns of sleep. It might be that my friend has this chronotype. She is probably a dolphin or even a wolf. So much so that if you are a wolf or a dolphin, then fitting into the normal everyday activities of our society is a little bit hard. It will be a little bit different. And so one of the ways that you can do is probably talk to your boss if you're an employee and tell him or her to adjust your work schedules so it can fit into your chronotype. Okay? And so sleeping, now all of us, whether you're a lion, a bear, a wolf, or a dolphin, there are certain things that we should be doing so that we can get a good night's rest and sleep. And what's the purpose of that? Because if you can get a good night's sleep, then definitely your mitochondria will be a lot healthier. Agreed? Okay. Those of you who agree, type 1 in the chat box. Okay. And if there are any questions, please make sure to put them there because this will just be a very short episode, uh, 30 minutes or even less. So that I think because many of us already find there are other things that we need to do. We are getting into the more normal patterns all over the world, and I wouldn't want to take too much of your time. So let's just make it maximum of 30 minutes. If I don't find the time to answer your questions on the chat box, then definitely I'll make sure that I'll answer them in the next episode. Okay, so going back to sleep, these are some of the things that we need to do and some things that we should not do. Well, one is let me talk to you about the two most abuse substances in the world. One is caffeine. So if you're a coffee drinker, if you drink a lot of tea, and the second one is alcohol. So if you drink a lot of beer or gin or other alcohol-based drinks, then definitely there are some don'ts that you should know so that you'll have better sleep. If you take, of course, definitely uh, coffee has a very big impact on your sleep. So if you're a regular coffee drinker, make sure that 6 to 8 hours before your bedtime, you'll no longer drink coffee. So you cannot be drinking coffee all the time, especially just before you want to go to bed. You will stay awake. And so it interrupts your sleep pattern and it impacts directly on your mitochondria and your ATP production, right? Also alcohol. There's no need to drink, or you should not drink alcohol drinks 2 hours, at least 2 hours before going to bed. So if you are a lion, a bear, a wolf, or a dolphin, make sure you do not drink those two most abused substances in the world. That's caffeine and alcohol. All right. Now, some of you may tend to eat even after 8. Did you know that based on our cycles, because we have daily cycles that we undergo, from 4 in the morning to 12 noon, and I'm going to share this in a later episode, this is called your detoxification period, detoxification time. It's when the body is naturally programmed to detoxify. It's the elimination period. Okay? Now, from 12 noon to 8 in the evening is your intake phase. That's the time that the body is actually programmed where You live any part in the world, you're a black race, white race, yellow, brown, that is your intake phase. So the body is naturally programmed for food from 12 in the afternoon to 8 in the evening. All right? And then from 8 in the evening to 4 in the morning, that is called the assimilation phase. That is the time when all of the things that you have eaten and drank, they have been digested in the body and they are now ready for distribution through our blood vessels throughout all parts of the body. That includes oxygen, definitely. And so if you can time your eating habits based on that cycle, digestive cycle that we have, you will be a lot healthier. Now, I mentioned that because for many of us, we still eat after 8 p.m. And like I said, that's no longer the time for food, basically. There's a time for assimilation of food. But if you eat, you're outside, you still have a party going on, the best food you can eat basically is still fruits. Why? Because fruits are the easiest to digest. That's a kind of food that's easiest. Actually, it's actually pre-digested already. There are enzymes there, as long as you don't cook it, then it's already digested. So once you eat it, very easily digested. So the impact on your sleep will be minimized. So if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, you eat a lot of protein, meat protein, you drink a lot of alcohol, it will be very hard on your system. And so your sleep pattern is going to be very erratic. You won't have a good night's rest. And it impacts directly on your mitochondria and its ability to produce ATP, your energy. Okay. Now, if you want to have a better sleep, if you want to do exercises, you can do it at least 2 hours before. But you only do very minimal exercises like stretching, right? And warm ups or cool down. Okay? So don't do any high intensity exercises before sleeping. Definitely, here's one thing also. Did you know? And I thought otherwise before. Did you know that if you take 1 or 2 tablespoons of honey before sleeping, it actually helps you sleep better? You can try it out first. Okay? I never used to do that because when I think of honey, I think of energy. And so I said, oh, I should not be taking honey because it might give me energy and I can sleep. But on the contrary, there have been studies already which suggest or even point to the fact that you can actually have a better sleep. It's through the chemical reactions in our body, which produces the right kind of hormones to make you sleep better. Now, another one is, I'm sure you're familiar already with omega-3. Now, omega-3 can come from plant food. There's like, for example, avocados and flax seeds. They have a lot of omega-3, but the best sources are wild Alaskan sockeye salmons. Okay, because they're in the wild and they have the best, most natural omega-3. And it has been shown by research that if you regularly take omega-3, especially some hours before you go to sleep, then you can sleep better. Actually, I've tried it. I've tried one product which was produced by a wellness company. They call it Sunset, actually. So I take it just after taking my dinner, and I felt better right away. My sleep pattern was not interrupted. And so when I wake up in the morning, I feel a lot better. Okay. Now, if you like to drink protein drink before sleeping, I would suggest that you drink a protein drink that is hydrolyzed. Hydrolyzed protein. Why hydrolyzed? Because by adding extra hydrogen into the formulation, it is actually more digestible. It's easily digested by the body, and so it doesn't interrupt your sleep patterns. One other benefit from taking a hydrolyzed protein drink is that it adds to the repair and recovery of the cells in your body. Because you've been active throughout the day, it easily does that. And so since I'm very active, once a week I do heavy exercises. Basically, my exercises are all boxing exercises. And so by Saturday, I do a heavy workout. But the other days, I do very easy exercises. One of the protein drinks that I drink is called Fit 20. And so when I drink that, I find that after my heavy workout, I can easily recuperate. After an hour of that, I'm ready to go again. And so if ever you do that before sleeping, you can drink a hydrolyzed protein drink. And last but not the least, I'm sure that all of us have this habit. Everybody has cell phones nowadays, smartphones. But did you know that almost all smartphones, they emit blue light? That's in the blue spectrum. And somehow, blue light acts as if you are drinking a cup of coffee. And so it jolts you out. Instead of making you feel sleepy, it jolts you. And I would recommend definitely that you stop using your cell phones before you go to sleep. Turn off the light, especially if you have light that emits also blue light, because it will interfere with your sleep. It will. So it should be a little bit darker already, so it can prepare you for proper sleep. And please stop using your cell phone, right? Because it emits blue light. Now, those are the things that I've actually shared with you to make sure, for what again? To make sure you have energy throughout the day. Because energy, your ATP, is not stored in the body, and you have to do it day by day by day. So, a short quiz, right? Or a short jog of the memory. The first one that impacts your mitochondria is the food that you eat. So, eat more plant-based food, better organic, so that it is easily digestible, it is bioavailable for your own body. So there's a need to cut down on processed food, on meat and meat products. Okay, the second one is exercise, fitness exercises for strength, for speed, flexibility, and balance. So it adds to your health, basically, if you are doing the right kind of exercises based on your chronotype. And the fourth one is rest for recovery. And the best time to do that is, of course, when you fall asleep. Now, if you are a lion, then definitely you should be there sleeping by 10 p.m. If you're a bear, before 12. If you're a wolf, by around 2 a.m. If you're a dolphin, there's a need for you to adjust your work schedules because it's quite erratic. But I'm sure that if you eat the right kinds of food, you do your exercises, at some point in time, your mitochondria will be a lot healthier. You will be more fit, and you can live a longer, more active, and productive life. Okay, now before I close, let me just tell everyone that what I'm saying here, this is not a substitute for medical treatment or medical advice. Okay, it's up to you and your health doctor, health practitioner, to come together and make those decisions, both for preventing diseases and for treatment. However, I'd like to also tell you, my good friends who are tuned in right now, and whom I will send this recording, I would encourage you to consider my advice. I've been doing this for many, many years already. So I've experienced them, and that's what I'm just sharing. I mentioned to you at the start of this webinar that I have made it, because it's my passion, I have made it as my calling. So it becomes sacred for me to keep myself well and healthy throughout the years, and to share what I know and I research to all of you, my wellness friends. So in behalf of the Blue Zones Wellness and Longevity Movement. Okay, let me show you here. Right, can you see it? Blue Zones Wellness and Longevity Movement. And let me turn around so you can see our motto and slogan. Live healthier, happier, longer. Okay, so if you keep on doing that, the path towards wellness, fitness, and a long, more productive and happy life is this way. Okay. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. Stay safe, stay well, and may you live to be 100 or more. Okay, God bless you.